To start off, I will be going over the more developed country in England. Now, England's main language is, of course, English. The religious diversity is 59% Christian, and ethnicity is 87.1% white. I think that England creates unification through their cultural aspects as the wide range of the country's history carries on to this day. From entertainment and show business to traditional festivals, England's culture seems to unify the country. I'm going to start with the more developed country in England and talk about a popular culture known as music. Now, popular music in the 1950s Britain was an attempt to recreate American rock and roll. However, in doing so, British rock and roll was created. Genres like beat and British blues emerged from one of the greatest bands of all time, known as the Beatles. The development of blues rock helped separate popular and rock music. The music is an example of a positive effect in British culture because it was exported through the world as the Beatles became incredibly famous and helped define the rock and roll in the mid 20th century. Next, I'm going to talk about a popular culture, but staying in show business, we are going to talk about the UK film industry. Now, the UK film industry is constantly competing with American and European film industries. However, the UK gave birth to the first known film, Roundhay Garden Scene. The first colored film was shot by Edward Raymond Turner, a British. And post-war films in the 1940s is when British film really took off, as Hamlet became the first British film to win Best Picture, and movies like The Third Man, Third Man's a really good movie, and many other film noir classics. Now, the next popular culture we'll be talking about is broadcasting. The British Broadcasting Corporation, the BBC, has broadcasted a variety of events from sports to news to many other things. From radio stations to satellites, Britain has some of the most famed broadcasting locations in the world. Like Sky Sports. Sky Sports is one of the most watched stations as it shows sports events ranging from soccer to cricket. However, this is a very negative effect through popular culture because these independent stations of broadcasting are known for heavily taxing the citizens of Britain to run operations, which led to strikes, it's led to protests, and it's increasing conflict between broadcast stations and the citizens of UK up to this day. To cap England off, we will talk about a folk traditional culture in England known as the Guy Fawkes Festival. Unfortunately, many popular cultures outshine much of the folk cultures. However, there are many festivals known to be carried on for centuries. The Guy Fawkes Festival is a perfect example of folk culture festivals in England, as ever since 1605, celebrations of the Gunpowder Plot have carried on through the country's history. As from a distance one could see these fireworks and sparks signifying the explosion of the Parliament, and it's always celebrated on the same day for 400 years, November 6th. Now, I will be analyzing my less developed country in Lesotho. Now, 85% of the country speaks Sesotho, and the religious diversity is 90% Christian. In terms of ethnicity, 99.7% of the country identify themselves as Basotho. I think that the culture in Lesotho most definitely unifies the country as folk culture connects traditional and generational culture, and pop culture adds a more modern sense of daily life and more cultural activities, from religion to sports to daily life. To start off, in Lesotho, I will be talking about a folk culture in music and dance. Music and dance is sacred in Lesotho, as tradition has been carried on for generations. Herders play a musical instrument known as the leziba, which is a stringed and wired instrument, and complement the dance, which is the gumboot dance, which demonstrates the influences of migrant labor and cultural expression. Moving on to popular culture, it was much more difficult to find popular culture, especially in a less developed country like Lesotho. However, popular daily life in Lesotho is known for blending Western culture in their daily life and social customs, as well as Western influence in Maseru, which is the capital, offering shops, regional crafts, markets, and most importantly, modern hotels, restaurants, and nightclubs. However, I see this popular daily life Western influence as quite negative. Lesotho is supposed to be a traditional country with folk culture and traditional values. I feel like the Western influence just kind of ruins that. It steamrolls over it. Lesotho is the hidden gem of religious freedom and traditional beliefs. The most popular culture is actually religion. Lesotho is known for having many religious people. 90% of those religious people are identified as Christian. However, Lesotho has a lot of religious freedom and tolerance, as throughout the country, as many religious practices are split up quite evenly. 70% are Protestant, 45% are Roman Catholic, 2% are Hindu, 11% are independent, but most interesting is that the traditional Christians only take up 7% of the religious population, showing religious freedom, diversity, and tolerance. I believe that religion is a very positive cultural aspect because it increases diversity and freedom of religious practices, showing tolerance, which is especially rare to find in a developing country. Lastly, I'm going to be talking about another popular culture in sports. Sports is one of the most celebrated and used cultures in Lesotho, as it borders former World Cup host South Africa, and many Lesotho-born players play in the South African League. The most popular sport is soccer due to increased Western influence, but judo, long distance running, and boxing are widely known in Lesotho and even used to recruit police officers.